The artist recreates the world.
Welcome to The Artist Recreates the World. I'm Andrew Binger.
What's going on? Thank you for having me, brother. Honored to be a part of the series.
Thank you for being part of the series. Such a beautiful soul. Tell them about what you do. You're an actor, part of Yendor Productions. We're in front of some of Rodney Gilbert's work. You're on Equipment Avenue. It's Equipment School.
Equipment Street School, that's it. So yeah, I work as an artist, I work as an actor, and just moving into the directing world and just sort of curating artistic experiences through theater specifically. So Rodney was my theater professor. He taught me everything I feel like I know about what real acting is all about. So to be here, Equipment Street School here, this mural,
Nice.
this is actually one of the last murals Rodney did before he passed, and he's a student. He went to Equipment Street School, so it's so fitting to be right here.
Good history.
So that idea of giving back to the community, so what Rodney was about, right? Not necessarily leaving his community, but staying there and giving back. So that's another thing that I try to do with my artistry, is like, how do I incorporate giving back or giving to the community in that? It's so important for us. I mean, in so many ways, the arts are about that giving of oneself, giving of one's soul, something deeper. So connecting it to giving back so that others can really partake in that, especially members of the community, is so vital.
I just remember when you just started talking, I remember how well you speak. I remember that speech you gave at end. That was...
The networking night, that's right, the military park.
Yes, that was very good. That whole day was very good. I wonder if that was the last time Ronnie spoke in person like that, publicly. I don't know, but he gave a good speech that day too.
Yeah, that was a dope
People
day.
should check it out. It's an overview of what Yendor Productions was and still is about. So it was, and they didn't do it this year, but they did it last year. It was pretty good. I think they had it for 6 or 7 weeks. Talk about what is art to you, based on where you are in your development.
Man, that's a tough question, right? Everyone asks you, how do you define art? Such a tough one.
Version.
But for me, I think art, and what makes something art, is, like I said, that idea of, like, you could take something visual, a piece of music, a scene, and then when you put something from yourself in that soul element is what really makes it art, because that's when it starts to touch other people. That's when other people can feel that impact. Like that piece of music, it could be the most brilliantly composed piece of music, but if no one else kind of feels it, and if you don't feel that, like, it's good.
In the interview, I knew this wasn't going to be long.
But when you put that soul element into it, it's just that moment where you just hear that piece of, you just, I feel that note.
See, it takes me to a different place. So now, why can't more artists do that, in your opinion? That soulish place. What stops us from going to that soulish place? Is it experience? Is it lack of experience? Is it that we don't want to really be free? Or is it external forces that force us to think and see the world or express the world a certain way?
I think partially.
Like 4 questions.
No, that external piece is definitely a factor, because to do that, you have to be vulnerable. You have to give up oneself, and to allow yourself to be that vulnerable is hard.
Oh, we go and shout. No,
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to really get to that place where, you're vulnerable to others. So that's definitely something that stops us. And then the idea that sometimes we celebrate art or what we call art that isn't quite art. And that idea of that external celebration causes some people to not necessarily dig beyond that, because they get what they think they're looking for, that praise. But like Rodney pushed us, especially through theater, like, no, this is not good. Just because people in the audience clap, like, no, you got to push and dig deeper. There's so much more to this, and it's the idea of, like, it's an everlasting dig. You dig.
I like that, everlasting dig.
It's an everlasting dig to be that artist, because it's like you got to keep peeling away at layers and layers and layers of self to get to that soul, that vulnerability. So those two external things, that fear of being vulnerable and sometimes people are looking for that celebration and not necessarily knowing that that's not quite where you stop when it comes to the art, and that shouldn't be the goal.
Ryan would put it this way when I interviewed her. She says the art goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So, wow. You're in this Newark environment. What is it that you really love? Like when you see it happen around you and you go like, wow, that's it. What is that really does it for you?
Man, there's so many different things. I mean, Newark is a vibrant city with so many great personalities and people. And then when you think of the art, it's a rich art scene. One of the things that I like about Newark is that the artists don't feel the need to be like flashy or showy in what they do. It's about getting to the core element of what it is. So like you can be anywhere. You could be, you could be in a cut and you can see somebody doing some dope poetry. And it's like, who would have ever thought I would have saw this, down the street, around the corner, up the thing. But it's like, that's kind of what it is. It's just, there's pulses of it. It doesn't have to be on this big, shiny, polished stage. Like, it's the idea if you give us a space to just do, and we'll create. The other thing,
a lot of underground. Go ahead.
Yeah, underground. That's a beautiful thing. Because that to me that's that idea of you're doing it for different reasons because you got something that you got to let out. And then the other thing I love, especially I see here in the city of Newark, is how we engage the young people in the arts,
yes.
And to see that raw, natural talent just flourish, and to see that moment where someone who maybe has never been engaged with the arts as a young person, and that moment where you see that fire, like, oh, I found something that I love. When they first do that dance move, and they're like, oh, that's that feeling, and they can't stop. That's a beautiful feeling to give that to young people. It's like you've given them the tools to
right.
creation, to expression, to success. Like you've given them something it's invaluable for them, and you see their whole trajectory can change because of something like that. That's important too.
And what could you change if you had the power to, in terms of the artistic community? What do you feel like we need tweaking on that we could do a little better as artists? Whether amongst each other? Yeah, amongst each other.
Definitely, I'd do a big push to just get more arts in all of our schools. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been some studies done, especially in public schools, where there's schools that have vibrant arts programs and there's schools that don't have anything, or very close to anything. Particularly theater arts, it's low across the board. Schools in Newark, I'll definitely do that. More incorporating those type of programs into our school system, or just have more students have access to that.
And it's reflected in the amount of performance art that is done here on a certain level. Mm-hmm. Yeah, on a certain level, whether that be high school, whether that be college.
And then the other thing, my big push, and that's why I'm happy to be a part of the Yendor team and keep the legacy that Rodney kind of started alive, is the idea there's definitely a lack of performing arts, theater arts here in the city of Newark. I mean, the idea that we have like an NJPAC, which is a great entity in and of itself, but what's reflective of the community, particularly theater reflective of the community, that stories that are being told that the community can see themselves in and engage in that dialogue and be inspired by, that's so vital. And I think that's
my man right here. It's my man right here. He's saying it. This is the end of the view. That little piece right there, that's it. We have to tell the stories that reflect where we are. That's where I see the recreation is. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a year. It comes as we increase the arts in school. We increase the performance arts and the other arts at certain levels, and give people the tools to creation. I love how you said that.
And then we just need a seat at the table too, because there's a lot of people who have that position and they're not giving those positions up.
Now. Come on, baby.
Not to be that guy, not to rage against the machine, but we definitely need more opportunities for us to have a seat at the table to help make these decisions, because what someone else who's making the decision calls high art may not necessarily be what's reflective of all of us. So that's the big push too.
Give him the other mic and just slide in.
I mean, that's definitely the big thing. So definitely trying to get more representation in these positions of power to say, okay, you can make a decision, and I like that too, but we're also going to make a decision too about what we think is high art, and give that a platform. That's important.
Much love, continued success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Of course, anytime.
And I'll look for you when we do the 3 with Malcolm, Kareem, and episode.
That's right. Shout out to the Yendor team, keeping the legacy alive. Malcolm Rowland, Kareem Willis, Andrew Binger, the dream team.
Did we say this was Ronnie's work? We said this was.
Yep.
All right, we out, y'all. Follow him. What can they follow you on Instagram?
Bingsta. Bingstaaa.
You don't like a Bingsta?
I don't know what that is. It's just a play on my last name. But on Instagram. Then definitely follow Yendor LLC on Instagram and Yendor Theatre Company. And then follow us on Facebook as well.